Hey guys, it is me here on this Saturday evening. I hope you guys are doing good out there and welcome back to Nicole's View. So I wanted to come on camera. I haven't been on camera in a while and I wanted to talk about this. As we already know, it was a mistrial in the Cosby case and the media is doing the usual, figuring out why it didn't, there was no verdict. You're going to have the talking heads come on here and try to dissect and whatnot. But in this case, I wanted to definitely show how I think it's important that Tom Mesereau have some type of input. If he can be on Cosby's legal team, I think that would be so essential to them. I think it would only bolster their defense. Tom Mesereau has an excellent background. I mean, aside from the humongous win with Michael Jackson's case in 2005, I mean, he's done amazing things. Pro bono cases he's done, and a lot of his cases do tend to help African American people, which I think that's amazing as well. He just has an excellent background. He's won many awards. Amazing attorney. So I personally feel, like I've said before, I think he will be a great addition to Mr. Brian McMonagle and Miss Angela Agrusa. I seem to sometimes forget her, and I don't want to forget her because she's just as important. I think the three of them together would be amazing. I think they would blow this whole case like to smithereens, So, but what I want to do is I want you guys to see this. I want you guys to see this witch, Wendy Murphy, who is a known, let's just put it in my terms, a dirty white supremacist witch. She gets on these, cable shows whenever these big, high profile cases go down. She's always against whoever it is, especially if they're black and they're famous. Oh, you better believe it. She is going to be a bitch. She is going to be cutthroat. She is showing her true colors in this whole entire segment I'm going to show you guys. And I just want you to see just the hate. When I look at Wendy Murphy, I see like a she-devil. I see horns. I see just this, like just a demented, demonic devil. And she just proves it time and time again. She did it in Michael's case. She does it in all these cases, especially if they're black men. I've picked up on her tone. She is a quintessential white supremacist devil. But I want you guys to check this out. So here we go. Let me make sure the volume is up so you guys can hear clearly. And here we go. Let's see if I can play it.
A criminal defense attorney known for several high-profile civil rights cases, including the Rodney King civil lawsuit. Wendy Murphy, a former prosecutor who's handled cases of child abuse and sex crimes, and Thomas Mesereau, a criminal defense attorney known for defending Michael Jackson in his 2005 child molestation trial. With a big welcome to all of you. John, I'll begin here with you. Surprised on your account that the judge declared a mistrial, and do you think the timing of it was right? Because there were a lot of opportunities as presented by the defense for that mistrial, but he kept saying, nope, you guys have to get back in there and keep working at it.
Well, no, the mistrial itself was not surprising. It was a little surprising the judge had them continue to work as long as they did. But given the high-profile nature of the case and the amount of money and time that's been spent, that was understandable. But certainly from the point of view of the defense, I understand that they were saying, look, they've had plenty of time to get this done. I don't think you want to badger a jury and make them make a decision when it sounds as if they were not able to decide. So from my point of view, it was good that the judge let it happen, but I was not surprised at all, given the testimony and the length of time the deliberations took place.
I'm just curious, John, before I move to the other colleagues there, the fact that the judge said last night, you guys have to get back in there, let's continue deliberating. They came and they had questions, they had testimony read back to them. Do you think they all just slept on it and decided we just can't do anymore and came after this morning? Because it doesn't seem like they did any more deliberating today.
Well, I think they were exhausted, but certainly they probably tried to do what the judge said they could do. But, I think they felt the pressure of trying to reach a decision on this. But at the end of the day, they worked really, really hard. And for a short evidence case, this was not a case that was extensive in terms of testimony. It really boiled down to maybe two witnesses, Andrea, as well as Bill Cosby's deposition testimony. That's all there really was to it. It should not have taken taken 5 days of deliberation. It only meant to me that they really were working hard and concerned about the results.
Yeah, to your point, I mean, only 6 hours there of testimony there with regard to defense. So, Thomas, what do you think was the most difficult aspect of the case to prove for this prosecution? Anything to do with the fact that it's been 13 years since this incident?
Well, I think that certainly played a role, but the alleged victim had some problems with her testimony. As I understand it, and as reported to me, she apparently told the police she had not had contact with him after the alleged incident, and they found 72 phone calls. They also found evidence that she apparently had been in contact with him, went back to see him, went to a concert. If these things are true, and she made misstatements to the police, that could have affected a lot of jurors in terms of her credibility. But also, there's no forensic evidence that was introduced tying Mr. Cosby into anything. And while they read transcripts from his deposition, which can arguably be interpreted as damaging, my understanding is that those transcripts, he also said that everything was consensual. So I think the prosecutors thought that they brought in the testimony of other alleged victims, that it would win the day, and the judge limited them to just one.
Yeah,
I think that's where they miscalculated.
Yeah, I made the mistake of saying 6 hours. I mean, even more incredulous, there's only 6 minutes of testimony there for the defense. So, I mean, to that point as well, Wendy, I do want to play for you what a spokeswoman for Camille Cosby has recently told reporters in a prepared statement just about an hour or so ago. Here it is.
How do I describe the district attorney? Heinously and exploitively ambitious. How do I describe the judge? Overtly arrogant and collaborating with the district attorney. How do I describe the counsels for the accusers? Totally unethical. How do I describe many, but not all, general media? Blatantly vicious entities that continually disseminated intentional omissions of truth for the primary purpose of greedily selling sensationalism at the expense of a human life. Historically, people have challenged injustices. I am grateful to any of the jurors who tenaciously fought to review the evidence, which is the rightful way to make a sound decision. Ultimately, that is a manifestation of justice based on facts, not lies. As a very special friend once stated, truth can be subdued but not destroyed.
When you categorize this reaction and what you make of her saying the prosecutor and the judge were in cahoots, that they were trying to convict her husband.
Devil here.
I'm almost speechless because, I mean, the guy won a case after allegations of, I think, 60 women have come forward and described him as a sexual predator. The thing you do after you win a case like this, and it is a win to have a hung jury, it's as good as an acquittal, at least for now. You come out and you are contrite, you shut up, you go home, you have a dinner party and you celebrate how lucky you are that the law is as bad as it is in Pennsylvania. You don't condemn the judge when you win. You don't slam the prosecutor when you win. And I think part of the problem is now this kind of rhetoric is going to increase the chances that the prosecutor is not only going to bring charges again, but going to try really hard to win next time. Here's the problem I see, Alex. The law, this case was not about Andrea's credibility. She was perfectly credible.
Yes, it was.
And for the most part, Cosby and she agreed about what happened. So it wasn't that she made mistakes or didn't tell the truth about contact. The only issue here was consent. And under Pennsylvania law, which is the...
So you guys see what Wendy Murphy is doing here, right? You see what she's about to do here. So she's going to say, don't worry about Andrea Constant continually changing her story and lying. Focus on the law, the law, the law. So what she is essentially saying is Pennsylvania's law when it comes to sexual assault cases, they're weak, they're not good, they're horrible. So let's try to find another state to see if they can maybe, get Bill Cosby, because those laws are stronger. She's throwing out a bone there. You see that? You see how these devils get down? They will make and create laws for us. Nobody else. Continuing.
worst in the nation, it's really hard to win these cases for a couple of reasons. Number one, to win a drugging charge, you have to show that the victim was drugged without her knowledge. In most states, you don't have to show without her knowledge. It's enough that a victim becomes incapacitated so that she can't make a voluntary decision about having sex. That's a terrible thing about Pennsylvania law, and lawmakers there should be ashamed of themselves, and they should fix the law tomorrow. One of the other charges on incapacitation requires that the victim be either asleep or unconscious. Are you kidding me? How does an asleep or unconscious woman testify about what happened to her body? I mean, that's a no-brainer to rip that one out of the books. She may well have been raped by him while unconscious, but there was no evidence because she was unconscious. So these are really big problems with the law in Pennsylvania. And if I were in charge of all the victims, if I could give them any advice, I'd say don't go back to court in Pennsylvania. Go to one of the other jurisdictions, Michigan, New Jersey. Cases can still be brought there because
Michigan? Really? Really, Wendy Murphy?
either the statute of limitations hasn't run or the clock stopped ticking because he hasn't been a regular resident there. And there's plenty of time left, and those laws in those jurisdictions are much better for victims. Forget Pennsylvania. There will never be a victory against Bill Cosby in Pennsylvania ever because of the...
So she's essentially, she's, you know, sounding like she's defeated. She knows that Andrea Constant case, she knows it's weak. She knows it's bullshit. She knows it, but she's going to get on here. She's going to pretend. She's not even saying alleged victim. She's saying victim. So we know Wendy Murphy's agenda. It's plain as day. You can't deny it. She is just an evil witch. Straight up evil. And she's saying, hey guys, go to these other states. Do whatever you have to do to get this man. It doesn't matter. You could be lying your ass off like what's happening here. It doesn't matter. Just do what you got to do to take this black man down. Continuing.
law, not the victim's credibility, the law.
Okay, so that's part one. Let me try to start up part two. And let's see if this is it. Here we go.
So, Wendy, will they try to move this trial? Is there a means to do that?
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's a political question, right? So women now should be rising up. They should be working together across racial lines, across ethnic lines, across...
Black women, don't get involved with this. Wendy Murphy's and her type, they don't give a damn when you are the victims. They don't give a damn. They only give a damn when it's theirs and they want you to be a part of it. Don't get involved with this. You are a fool if you get involved with this. If you don't see Wendy Murphy out there talking about these race soldier cops who get off every single time for blowing folks' brains out. If you don't see her doing that kind of stuff, you know what side she's on. She's not on your side. She's on the side of white supremacy. That is the side she is on. Don't be a fool to this. It is a dangerous game the likes of her are playing. Continuing.
all lines, women and people who care about violence against women should be rising up, working together, protesting in those other jurisdictions like New Jersey, like Michigan, demanding that the prosecutors there bring charges. And remember, the prosecutor in Pennsylvania lost his job because he didn't bring charges back in 2005. And the new prosecutor who did bring charges won because he promised justice for the victims. That's a wonderful thing to run on, the platforms of justice for victims. That's a politically resonant statement to make these days. Go to those other jurisdictions. Tell those prosecutors that if they want to keep their jobs, they've got to bring charges and say things
Whatever.
like we heard from Paul Ryan the other day when the poor congressman was shot. A sexual assault against one woman is a sexual assault against all women. That's the message of this case. Women rising up to make clear that this is an offense against all women as a class.
Look, Wendy, I'm not going to disagree with you, but I'll say, as Mr. Mesereau pointed out, very thin case in some ways, because Andrea went to see him after the fact, stayed in communication with him.
So
Her mother
what?
took phone
So
calls. I mean,
what?
You know, I have to
See?
tell
Doesn't
you,
disprove rape.
She didn't
it
tell the
doesn't-
truth.
John, John, go ahead.
You see, she doesn't care. They can say anything. They just want to continue the narrative that this man did this, even though it has been proven it's bullshit. Excuse my language, but I'm just going to be raw on this video. Complete and utter bull. It doesn't matter. She doesn't care. She doesn't care if the woman is literally straight up lying. Literally kept in contact with Bill Cosby after allegedly being assaulted. Who does that? What grown woman does that? Okay? Think, folks. Who keeps in contact with the person that assaulted them and then calls them the next month to wish them a happy Valentine's Day? Who does that? Who brings the person who assaulted them gifts? Who does that? Who requests tickets for their mama, their daddy, their friends, and everybody else to go to your assaulter's comedy show? Who does that? And I'm supposed to believe this. We're supposed to believe this. Don't be brainwashed, folks. Continuing.
Wendy, I appreciate your comments, and we've been through this before, but you have to look at the facts of every case. This is a case where she, in fact, did have a continual relationship with her. She did make statements that were contradictory. She did do things that any juror might say, can we really believe her? And you can go to any number of jurisdictions all you want. At the end of the day, it's the facts of those individual cases that are important, and that's the trouble, because credibility becomes. In this particular case, she
Cosby
felt that she was
admitted drugging her, John. Cosby admitted drugging her and raping her. He admitted it.
Wendy Murphy just sat up here and told a disgusting white supremacist, bold-faced lie. That is an absolute lie. The night that Andrea Constand went to Cosby's house, okay, she claimed she wasn't feeling well and she requested something. That is not drugging. She requested to have something. She wasn't feeling well. She couldn't sleep. See, this is dangerous when you don't know the facts of cases like this. And not just for Bill Cosby. This can be for your Bill Carsons, your Bill Johnsons. This is absolutely dangerous what Wendy Murphy is doing. And this is why you don't become brainwashed. You research the facts of these cases. Because Wendy Murphy just sat up here and told a bold-faced lie. But she is being paid to do this. And this is why I will say it again. Use your own brain. Don't let this type of media dictate and make you believe stuff like this. Absolutely dangerous. She is absolutely a devil. She looks like a straight up devil to me. Continuing.
Look, I'm not defending Bill Cosby. I'm only saying that the evidence that was presented in this case raised real questions about reasonable doubt. And that's what you got to do.
Yes, it did.
That's what you said. Wendy, that's what you're saying. But that's not what the other jurors said.
John.
Thomas, I want to pick up on Camille Cosby's comment accusing the judge of collaborating with the DA. The judge allowed only one other Cosby accuser to testify in that case. There were dozens of accusers for many years. That one was a Gloria Allred client. Allred cited that as an issue, saying more should have been allowed to testify. What do you think?
Well, apparently the judge also gave the prosecution a real gift. A witness came forward who said she roomed at Temple University with Ms. Constand, and she was ready to contradict some of Ms. Constand's statements, as I understand it. And apparently it was a big win for the prosecution. The defense couldn't call that witness. If that witness is credible, and if that witness gets on the stand and withstands cross-examination, the case might be over in a retrial. And remember the famous Menendez case in Los Angeles years ago. Two sons accused of murdering their parents. Very sensational case. The first jury hung, and in the retrial, the judge changed all the rulings that favored the defense. This judge could change some rulings before a retrial, and who knows who he's going to help.
So,
Well, you know, when you-
how
when you
would he do
had-
that, John? What would he do? Would he
Yeah,
allow?
You guys see what Tom Mesereau just did there? He just said, okay, let's retry this. And then if the prosecution ends up getting witnesses on there, and it could just change the dynamic of this totally. It can totally change it in the defense's favor, and they may not even realize it. Because a lot of these women, they can be easily, their backgrounds can be checked. Many people out there has done this on the internet. Shout out to Drew Story News or Drew News Story. You know, Drew, I love you. I just thank you for doing what you did by exposing this fraud, this whole entire debacle. You did an amazing job. You guys go check out his channel if you haven't. If you're on the fence trying to figure this all out, Drew Story News. He has done an amazing series on this entire Bill Cosby crap. He has literally exposed a lot of these women and their lies and their deception, the whole nine. But what Mr. Mesereau is saying here is so true. Let them bring on these other women, because then they can be, you know, not even showing their truth or not even telling the truth. It'll be easy to discredit a lot of them, especially if they've done these interviews or these, you know, interviews in these magazines as well. All they have to do is just go, okay, oh, this is what you said? Okay. They can go online, research what they said, and then they can poke holes like that. So this is stupid. It's stupid when you really think about it. But anyway, continuing.
More accusers to testify?
Yeah, he could allow more accusers to testify. I think though when you do that, you raise the real question of undue prejudice in a case, because then an appellate court could say, look, you really convicted this person based upon the fact that there are all these other events, when the point of fact is the evidence in the case where he's accused of doesn't necessarily prove it because of the credibility of the witness. So there's danger on both sides. You can allow it in, more witnesses, but the more you allow in, the more danger you raise in terms of undue prejudice, and you ultimately can cause a mistrial and a reversal.
Listen, I want to ask.
But the most important exception to that rule is when there is a pattern of the same kind of misconduct. This guy has way more than a pattern. He's got like a tornado of the same drugging, raping, misconduct. That's when you let it in, because you don't want the jury to think he doesn't have a pattern. You don't let the jury come up with an unjust acquittal. You don't want an unjust acquittal.
You know, in the Michael Jackson trial, the prosecution was allowed to bring in evidence that 5 other young men were abused. And I argued in my closing argument that that was a sign of weakness. The prosecution knew they didn't have a strong case, so they brought in these other people who were not part of the charged conduct to basically try and sway the jury, and frankly, my arguments worked. He was acquitted on every single count.
And to that end, you bring up the celebrity nature, having mentioned Michael Jackson. All three of you are familiar with celebrity and very high-profile cases. How much did that play into this case? Bill Cosby, to many, is still Dr. Cliff Huxtable, much beloved figure to people. John, I'll let you go with that first.
I think that's important. Having been involved with a celebrity person before, it is extraordinarily difficult, and the fact that he did not testify was to his advantage, because you don't want celebrities to lie. On the other hand, this is a little bit different because the publicity he has received is so broad and so negative that also could be hurtful to him as well. But I think on balance, people want to give a celebrity like him the benefit of the doubt, and therefore the prosecution has to overcome the celebrity status in a case of this kind. Even though there's all this negative publicity out there.
Bill Cosby is a lot of things, but first and foremost, he's wealthy. Secondly, he's a celebrity. Third or fourth, he's black.
I want you guys to notice the first thing she brought up. She didn't bring up he was black first. She didn't bring up the fact that he was a celebrity. She brought up the fact that he was wealthy. Number one thing. This is what this is about. This is about this, I'm going to put it like this, the order. This wealthy black man, celebrity or not, it doesn't matter. In the system of white supremacy, it doesn't matter if you're a celebrity or if you're just an average Joe. This is what it's about. And along with the wealth and trying to, bankrupt him, trying to take his money through lawsuits, it's also the legacy they are wanting to destroy. Bill Cosby has an unprecedented legacy that featured African American black men, women, and children as being intelligent, as being inspiring, as being just amazing people who can do amazing things. So to take down Bill Cosby is one of the greatest things that this system of white supremacy wants to do. When I sit and I look at the reruns of the Cosby Show, even right now, shout out to TV One for bringing it back. Shout out to Bounce TV for bringing it back. When I sit down and I look at these shows or look at the Cosby Show, I'm like, damn. When you really sit down and you look at it, like, damn. We'll never see anything like this ever again. And if we do see it, there's a twist, there's an agenda, there's something, it's just not right. But when I look at the Cosby Show, I see prosperity. I see a black, middle class, upper middle class family. Had two extraordinary black parents, one a doctor, one a lawyer. Amazing kids doing amazing things, going to college, just preaching that. And then you have a different world where he may have not been in a different world, but he was behind the scenes telling them, directing them, telling them, okay, let's talk about this. And then you had Debbie Allen, and you had this. You had on TV black people being smart, being educated. And they will never, ever again have anything like that on television. It would surprise the hell out of me if they do, but they won't. They are totally fine with having disgusting images depicted of us as being thugs, as being rapists, as being gangbangers, as being, single mama, single daddy, just chaos. That's what they want on television. They want to continue the sick, disgusting, twisted narrative that black people can't be educated, can't be smart, can't be, amazing people doing amazing things. And that's like the cherry on top in all of this. Bill Cosby's legacy was, or not even was, but is still paramount to black people. And you're going to still have those black people out there who say, oh, he's a turncoat, he did this, he did that. I'm not even here for it. Because Bill Cosby, he may have said some things, some years back that didn't jive with some of you, but you can't deny it. You can't deny some of the things that he touched on. And people love bringing up that pound cake speech, but they won't talk about the whole speech. They'll only talk about that certain segment of it. And you guys who've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Because there are people in our community who do, excuse my language, excuse my French, fucked up shit. Okay? And we can't, always blame it on certain people. But at the end of the day, we're still in this system called white supremacy. And they are loving this. And I think even if there's another trial, even if they don't have a trial, they have accomplished doing this. By seeing this man brought down, they've ruined his reputation. And this was the plan all along. And the next plan is to try to, financially drain him. So now Mr. Cosby has to continue to pay for lawyers. This is going to hurt his pockets. It's going to put a dent in his pockets, but I'm hoping that it doesn't put too much of a dent. I still hope Mr. Cosby was smart enough to put a chunk of money away and do something if something were to happen to him to where it goes to Camille and the kids where it's locked up and they can't touch it. I'm hoping that he's already got that planned out, because in the event, sadly, if this man passes away or anything like that, I hope he has that all settled. I hope he definitely had it all settled the minute these fraudulent, just cases and women start coming out the woodwork. So for me, I'm just hoping that's all said and done. But let's go ahead and finish this segment. I just had to put that out there.
So let's be clear, he is a man of great privilege. And he
privilege.
happens to be a privileged man
Whoa.
who is black, but it's irrelevant.
A privileged man who is black. Bill Cosby is not privileged. You know who is privileged? Woody Allen. You know who is privileged? Roman Polanski. You know who is privileged? Bryan Singer. Yeah, they're privileged.
In a case like this, because wealth and celebrity trump everything else. That's part of why he won, there's no doubt about it.
Your thoughts, Thomas?
When prosecutors lose, they always blame celebrity.
Yep.
I think it's an overrated concept. In most criminal cases where celebrities are charged, they are convicted, either by way of plea bargain or conviction. They pick when prosecutors lose, get their butts kicked. They start looking at celebrity and trying to say that the jury was blinded by celebrity. I think it's overrated, and I think it's ridiculous.
I want to ask all three of you before I let you go, with the prospect of a retrial here, what is the likelihood, give me a percentage if you can, that Bill Cosby will be convicted the next go around? John?
Not likely.
Wendy?
0.
Thomas?
Weak case, not likely.
Okay, you heard it here.
All right, guys, so that was that. You see there? See, even Wendy Murphy knows she's full of it. She knows what she's saying is bullshit. And quite frankly, yeah, I mean, this is what it is. This is what it is. This is America's favorite pastime, seeing the destruction, the crumbling, anything they can do to bring down black people. Even if you're your everyday, you know, Joe Schmo. It doesn't matter. Because this is what they do. This is what they do. And some may be like, why are you so vested in this? You know why I'm so invested in this? It's because it's Bill Cosby today, but who tomorrow? It may be Bill Carson next time, who is unknown. It may be Bill Johnson. You never know. And they want to make Bill Cosby the face of rape. They want to make the big black boogeyman the face of rape. This is what this is, folks. This is what this is. This is a witch hunt. Straight up, no way to cut it up, slice it, dice it. This is a straight up witch hunt. A racist straight up witch hunt. So anyway, yeah, I definitely wanted to do that commentary on this. And I also plan on doing a video researching about this Kevin Steele, this DA. We need to know about him. And there needs to be ways that folks out there who are not down with this DA out there in that county, they need to be rallying, getting together to get this man out of office. But that may be very unfortunate because many folks out there who voted for him, this is what they wanted. So I'm even hearing that that whole area is a racist area anyway. But if there's any kind of way, those out there who don't have this mindset, who don't think like those type of people, you need to be getting together, rallying to get this man out of office. Because guess what? You may be voting for him thinking he's the right guy and he's doing the great thing, but you're going to pay dearly. You know where you're going to pay? You're going to pay in your pockets because he's going to drain you guys dry. You taxpayers, you're going to be the ones paying the price for this at the end of the day. You're going to be paying the price. So if you're smart, you'd be trying to rally to get him out of office. And look into that judge too. I think he's just as crooked. And I am with Miss Camille. And may I say, Camille Cosby, that woman, man, what an amazing letter. I agree with everything she said. She is a true queen. Shout out to Miss Camille Cosby for, you know, sticking by. It doesn't matter. They don't like that. They don't like when we stick together. They like the dysfunction. They like the craziness. They like the be this, be that. Black women, stay out of this. Don't listen to Wendy Murphy, because when we're being murdered in these streets, when we're being gunned down by these race soldiers and they're getting off one by one by one by one, and I plan on doing a video about Philando Castile as well. The fact that they're able to get away with this and say, we should come together, women, all races, don't do it. Because they don't come together when we're suffering. They don't come together when these race soldiers who get off for murdering people, they don't come together for you. Stay out of this. Have nothing to do with it. Have nothing to do with it. Don't trust sick, disgusting, demonic folks like Wendy Murphy. She has an agenda, and it's not for you. It's for them. So, anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest. And yeah, definitely let me know what you think about this. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.